You see this? This is why I have to wear a hat. Okay, much better. Well, today we have ourselves a full moon. But not only that, a lunar eclipse. Hey, this Pixel 6 has a pretty killer zoom on it, right? Wonder if it could shoot the moon. So I thought, what the heck? Let's see what the Pixel 6 Pro can do and how it compares also to my usual way of shooting moon photography. Roll the intro. Okay, so really quick, I'm gonna try to break this down into a few small parts. One, obviously, we gotta go out and shoot the moon. I'm gonna bring both the Pixel 6 Pro and I'm gonna bring my usual shooting setup that I would shoot the moon with because, I mean, if it's a cool moon, I wanna get a good shot of it, right? Two, I'm gonna edit the photos a little bit using, I usually use Snapseed for regular photos, and I'll use Lightroom for any of my raw photos. And we can just do a little comparison and see how they stand up to each other. Three, there's the lunar eclipse. So that's not gonna happen until later on. So we'll try and go back out when that actually starts occurring and try shooting some shots of that with both the phone and my Sony just to see how they compare. It'll be much different. The moon rise, when it's appearing, will be a lot brighter because it's still around sunset, whereas the lunar eclipse will be happening much later at night. It'll be darker. We're gonna be focusing on just that moon. And because it's a lunar eclipse, the moon is gonna be dimmed down. So let's see how that looks. For now, we've got to get our gear together to go meet up with that big cheese in the sky. So let's go. So I've mentioned this in other videos, but one of the nice things about doing a full moon photography rise is it usually lines up with sunset. Check out that view back there. This is beautiful. Almost to the top. Moon should be rising somewhere along those mountains in that direction. Sunset's in that direction. I figure we might as well try to get both points of view so we can shoot both. I got the tripod out just for the big camera. Probably gonna shoot the Pixel handheld because I don't have a mount to put on here with me. So just, you know, somewhere to put this down too so I can focus on the Pixel camera shots. But let's see how this big camera does and this camera does zoomed in, taking shots of the sunset real quick while we wait for the moon to rise over in that direction. This is the best this shot can do. Mounted in towers with the sun zoomed in as best it can. Let's see what the Pixel does real quick. Pinch to zoom. Tap on the towers. Definitely a struggle with the Pixel shooting right into the sun. Not gonna be your best shot, but yeah, might as well try it while we're waiting, right? All right, we need to figure out where this moon's gonna rise because it's gonna come pretty quick. It always does, so let's turn things around. All right, so if you've seen any of my astrophotography videos or even previous moon videos, a lot of times I'll use an app to help me figure out where the moon is gonna rise or where the Milky Way is gonna be when it rises. So that's what I'm doing now. I've got photo pills up on my iPad mini and I can show you where the moon's gonna rise. There we go, we can see it right about there, so it should rise somewhere there on the horizon. And one of the things I'm worried about is, if you haven't noticed, we've got quite a bit of hazy clouds in the sky, and that can look pretty cool for sunsets, but if you're trying to get the moonrise right as it crests over the horizon or over the mountains, well, you just might not get it. So I'm gonna stick around, see what happens. Come on, moon, show yourself. Anyways, while we're waiting, just wanted to remind you that if you haven't seen my more in-depth video about taking photos of the moon with all the tips and everything, I have another video that's more focused on the big cameras, not on the Pixel, which I promise we're getting to as soon as I see it. It's just that the Pixel's a lot easier to shoot with because I'm gonna do it handheld, where this guy, I gotta do all the settings and dial it all in, you know what I mean? So anyways, back to what I was saying. If you are interested in doing full moon photography, go check out that video. It has a lot of great tips and advice for you. I think I see it. Not sure. I see a very faint light color in the sky over there. Let me point this other camera at it since it's got the big zoom on it. I think that's it. It doesn't look that good, but I think that's it. Let's try it with a Pixel real quick. So I'll show you this from this camera's point of view, but that moon is just dipping right into the clouds. We barely got the shots that we could get while it was visible just above the mountain range. So yay, got something, right? So let's go ahead and head back down. I'll pull the photos off the Pixel 6 Pro and I'll pull the photos off the Sony. We'll bring them onto the iPad really quick, do a little tweaking, editing, see if we can make it look any more interesting considering what we have to work with, which is nothing right now because it's gone, and give you my thoughts on that. And then hopefully later on, when the lunar eclipse is happening, we can shoot that, but from the backyard because the moon will be higher up in the sky and hopefully there won't be as many clouds. All right, let's head back down. Oh man, I spoke way too soon. The moon's actually rising again above those clouds and actually looks really cool now. So let's take a couple more shots really quick. All right, as you can see, we're back in the office, and I already went ahead and edited those images from both cameras, and it's not looking too good for the Pixel 6 Pro. In my last video, I pitted these two cameras against each other using just auto with no filters and no post-processing, and the Pixel came out ahead in most scenarios. If you haven't seen that video and you want more of a deep dive, go check that one out. I'll leave a link down in the description or up here, wherever that's at. But this time around, I did do some post-processing to give each camera as much of an advantage as possible. For the Sony camera, I did shoot in RAW and edited the image using Lightroom Mobile on the iPad. And for the Pixel 6 Pro image, I used an app called Snapseed to try and make that look as close as I could to the finished Sony image. Now, it's not my best work, but as you saw, the conditions weren't perfect, so I'm making do with what I can. But that doesn't change the quality I can get out of the Pixel for moon photography. Basically, to even compete with the Sony camera, I had to go beyond the 4x optical zoom on the Pixel, which ended up being a partially digital 20x zoom. And aside from the moon, a lot of the image was dark. So with that, a bunch of artifacting showed up and a lot of detail was lost. What about that lunar eclipse? Well, let's fast forward to that. It's still a little early. We've got a few more hours until the lunar eclipse occurs, actually starts occurring. It actually won't be until after midnight, so I'm just gonna try and figure out where the moon is gonna be and make sure we can still see it. So I'm gonna use the PhotoPills app again on the iPad and see where that moon is gonna be around midnight. That's actually not too bad. Looks like the moon's gonna be pretty much straight up. So as long as we don't have any cloud cover, we should be able to see it starting to begin. Now, that will be the beginning of the lunar eclipse, so it won't make it completely dark. It'll probably look like maybe a bite had been taken out of it because the Earth will be blocking it a little. In order for me to capture the full lunar eclipse, I'd have to wait until even later in the night, and I have work, so probably not gonna do that. We just wanna take a couple more shots, see how the Pixel 6 Pro zoom lens does, and also just try and take a couple shots with the nice big Sony camera and a big lens. and just see what we can get. It's finally midnight, and it's happening. Check this out. I don't know if you could see that. You know what? Here, I'll just hit the record button. You can see it. Show you a little live view of that lunar eclipse that's happening right now. But yeah, you can see that top left corner getting darker, so I'm not gonna stay up all night to wait for it to get really dark because it'll be really late, but also it'll just be a darker moon, so it's even gonna be harder to shoot. But yeah, let's take a couple shots and see what we can come out with. All right, Pixel, let's see what you can do. Oh no, I don't think it can do much at all. Let's see. Tap to focus. Sliders are all the way down. And snap. So when I digitally zoom into the max, which is 20x, it doesn't come out at all. I mean, I could see an ever so faint dark corner there, but there's no detail at all in the moon. If we use just 4x without the extra digital zoom, it's not really much better. It's just smaller. So verdict, Pixel 6 Pro zoom lens, not that great for lunar photography. Maybe if you're shooting in manual, it might work, but even then, it just doesn't have the kind of reach that some of these bigger lenses can do on bigger cameras. Yeah, I didn't even bother trying to edit the Pixel 6 Pro lunar photo this time. Maybe I was doing something wrong, but there just wasn't any detail to recover. Honestly, I was surprised at the earlier shots considering the bit of cloud coverage we had. And if there's a bit of blue hour light, it seems like the Pixel is able to still create a decent moon image, even if it is a little bit HDR-ish. So what about the Sony image? Well, to really show off what can be done with a decent mirrorless camera, long lens, and a bit of post-processing, I stayed out a little bit longer and shot a succession of 40 raw photos and spent some time doing manual image stacking to reduce noise and increase detail. And here's that shot. Much better if I do say so myself. Anyways, that's Ginter for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing some more of my behind the scenes photography and analysis. The Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro are still great camera phones, and it seems like these phones are getting better and better each year. For now, I'm still gonna shoot my astro and lunar photography with my Sony, but I'm always looking forward to future improvements with the small sensors that these cell phones do have. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button if you learned something or found it entertaining or useful, whatever. And click the subscribe button if you want to see more photography videos like this, because that's what I do here. And I promise eventually I will cut my hair. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, it's getting a little long. Getting a little bit too long.